here we find that Sri Ramakrishna also mentioning almost the same thing. The ordinary people cannot understand this. Now this we can ask, what is the reason for this advent? Why the God has to come in the human form or any other form? Then the Sri Ramakrishna's reply is, can anyone comprehend Brahman, the indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute? One which has no part, one which no one can divide. And it is the existence, absolute knowledge, and absolute bliss. He alone has attained perfect love of God, who, having reached the absolute, keeps himself in the realm of relative in order to enjoy the divine Leela. So here is the importance of an incarnation of God, because it's an example. Now so many scriptures, they are giving the description that this is the type. Now how we will understand that if we don't see any example? So naturally we have seen that always, every time, people, they can understand things, the truth, through example. In the schools also, the children always, they will be in the classrooms, there will be so many different things to make them understand. There is the one teaching, immediately this is the example. It is like this. So when we see the example, we can understand that. That's why Jesus said, who has seen the Son has seen the God, has seen the Father. That doesn't mean the moment if we conclude that it is only Jesus, that's the wrong thing. That is the wrong thing always we do, because we cannot accept many. We can only think in a very narrow way, or this much and no farther. But it is the same law everywhere. Why the incarnation of God in so many different times and so many different places among so many different people? Because of this. And what is that? We cannot understand the magnanimity of God, which the Vedanta says Brahman is all pervading. And because of the all pervading oneness, no one can divide it, undivisible. And it cannot be any moment that it is not there. So existence, Sat. This Sat means existence. Then Chit, this knowledge. Knowledge, that is the wonderful thing. The moment we talk about the knowledge, we think about the bookish knowledge, university and college and all that knowledge. No. It's the knowledge about the reality. It's the knowledge about the truth. It's the knowledge about the oneness. And that is the knowledge. And then the moment these two things we can understand, there is eternal bliss. Why? Because we are happy. But the moment they say, you are going to die, or this is the stop, or this is the change, or this is going to happen, immediately we are afraid, we are unhappy. When there is no break, when there is no two, when there is no thought of cutting down or making it small, what I am having now, then there is no problem for me. I am always happy. So that we can understand a little, that the bliss means constant joy without depend on anything outside world. These worldly things, it can give us joy, but it is temporary. So Vedanta termed this person as Jivan Mukta, the incarnation of God, but the person, this is very high. But even then, the Vedanta is telling ordinary people also can, or the rishis after their the tapasya, the sadhana, they can also reach to a place where they are constantly in joy without fear. So they call it Jivan Mukta, free while living the example of scriptural truths. In the Shiva Samhita, it says, describes the Jivan Mukta as ko bandha kasyava moksha ekam pashyat sadahi saha etat karoti yo nityam samukta natra samsayaha. No doubt, na atra samsayaha. There cannot be any doubt about what? About this person. What he has done. He is mukta. Mukta from where? Mukta from the limiting things. When we are unlimited, absolute, there is always joy. How it is possible for him? Because he has no conception of baddha and mukta, limiting or unlimiting. Limited, unlimited. Baddha means we are always, we feel, we have a limitation. That is baddha. And I cannot go beyond this. I like this, I do not like that. I love this, I do not love that. So all these limitations, and I know this is a limited time, period of time, and that is the eternal. So all this conception vanishes from his mind. So ko baddha kasyavam moksha. Who is bound and what is liberation? Ekam pashyet sadahi saha. He sees constantly the one every moment. Etat karoti yo nityam. Constantly, every moment when he is having this, samukta. It may be said without any doubt that one who is not any difference, who don't find any difference in bondage and liberation, because the constant awareness of one consciousness is Jivan Mukta. The Shiva Samhita, it mentions like that. And the Jivan Mukta Gita, it also mentions in a wonderful way, this person do not depend on anyone. When you see the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, when you see the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or any great soul of that status, we see they are all individual. They do not depend on anybody. And whatever they are doing, when they are asking people to do this and do that, that is for their good, for their benefit. Sometimes some people are coming and Sri Ramakrishna asking them to do some services. It's not for him, but for his good. Why? By that way, by serving this holy person or doing that type of job, they are actually getting merits. The purity, pavitrata. So it is to help them only is doing this. And here in the Jivan Mukti Gita, it mentions ekaki ramate nityam sabhava guna barjitaha brahma jnana rasasade jivan mukta sa uchyate. Shankaracharya, he said, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, God realization is the goal for every human being. And Shankaracharya said, Jivan Mukti Sukha Prapti Hetabe Janma Dharitam. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, from the point of view of the devotees, he is mentioning the God realization. And the Shankara, from the point of view of the Vedantin, Jivan Mukti Sukha Prapti Hetabe Janma Dharitam. So why we are taking birth? To get this Jivan Mukti Ananda, Jivan Mukti Sukha, the Jivan Mukti enjoyment. The life is so enjoyable. Sometimes some people, after the retirement, they always feel morose. Oh, what will happen to us now? I told you, this is the free time. When we were children, we were not free. We were under some senior people, our guardians, and then we were not having the monetary freedom also. And then we entered into the samsara, another bondage. We are not free because we have to go and attend the duties. And then after the retirement, that is the time you should enjoy, and you are thinking that you are suffering. The wrong conception. After the retirement, you are having the monetary freedom, and also at the same time, you are having the total freedom to take the decision and try to keep the health little good, then enjoy. Go different places, enjoy the whole life. That freedom, at least in the worldly life, that freedom should be there. That enjoyment should be there. Why? Ekaki. Then we are free. Here in the Jivan Mukta, he don't depend on anybody else. Unless and until we are having somebody, it is all difficulty. No, he don't think like that. So that's why ekaki, all alone, ramate, he is roaming around, nityam, constantly, sabhava guna varjitaha. As because the guna, sattva, raja, tama, these three gunas. Today I attended that religious advisors meeting. One gentleman was sitting from another faith. So we were just discussing, then I told that why human beings are different. Because of the gunas, the qualities. I knew that it will be difficult for him to understand, but still I told him, see that this type of 33%, almost the 100%, three qualities are there, Satya, Raja and Tama. When all these three are in equilibrium, all are equal, there is no movement, more or less, then the perfect joy. This person also, Sabhava Guna Varjita. He is totally free from these qualities. And then it says, Brahmajnana Rasa Asyade, as if testing the sweetness or the beautiful taste of Brahma. This Brahman, the knowledge, that absolute. Those who practice meditation, sometimes they feel tremendous joy because a little fraction of that Ananda. So that is called, now if we get the complete Brahmajnana knowledge, we can understand the joy of that. We don't need anything. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is trying to give different examples. When you are drinking this sweet, the pure, then who goes for the other things? The taste that you won't like. Similarly, the taste of God, the taste of meditation, taste of Brahma Jnana, that is nothing but the complete joy. He says, the Brahma Jnana Rasasade, and that person is called Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. Uchyate means he is called as Jivan Mukta, free in life, free from all qualities, Sattva, Raja, Tama. Now, how to get this freedom from all the qualities? This is the process. That slowly we have to learn. In the beginning, we always think about ourselves and nothing else. Tamaguni. This is ahamkari, tamaguni, constantly thinking selfishly for oneself. And then slowly we learn as we grow from our experience to think for others also, adjusting for others also, adjustment. So previously in the family, all people used to live together, they developed adjustment. And now all people are living separately. They lost that capacity of adjustment. The adjustment means what? Adjustment means you're lessening your ego, your desire, your whims. So that goes down, and obviously you are also accepting others. By that way also we learn. So that is the reason it says, slowly through experiences, knowledge, practices, and austerities, we learn that Raja, and then we go to Sattva. Then ultimately we remove the Sattva also. As because that story that you know, Sri Ramakrishna is talking about the three dacoits. The third one is also dacoit. It cannot take you to the house of God. So you have to remove that too. Then what remains? That remains. That only remains which no one can express. And Sattva Sabhava Guna Varjitaha. All this, free from all that, only Brahma Jnana Rasa. Bhagavad Gita termed it Sthitadi. The one they called that Jivan Mukta, and the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita, it called Sthita Di. What is the Sthita Di? Steady wisdom. Sthita means the steady. Di, Buddhi, is called knowledge, wisdom. Dukkheshu anudvignamana, sukheshu vigataspriya, vita raga bhaya krodha, sthitadi muni uchyati. See, this is the description of the scripture. But have we ever noticed these qualities manifested in any individual, any human being? That is the question. Unless and until we see that, unless and until we find that example, living example, we are not inspired to follow. And Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is the living example. Ma Sharadamani Devi, very recently, is the living example. How she was maintaining all these things. Anyone, anywhere, even by mistake, making some problem for me, I go on repeating, pondering over that, telling people, criticizing that man, that person, that he or she has done these. Now, when the mother was so young, and she was coming with in the company of her relatives and the villagers' friends, they left her, that young lady, in that wilderness. And all of them, they went away, leaving that young lady at the back all alone. Then the dacoit came, and mother told, and dacoit was impressed, and the dacoit became a devotee. All the stories who have read the life of Ma Sharadamani Devi, they know a very interesting incident that happened. But the question is, why those people were so selfish? Why they never thought about this young lady who was completely depending on them? None of them did any thought about her or sacrificed, okay, if she cannot walk, we also won't go, we will stay back. What is there? Even one day is extra, no problem. We cannot leave her like this. So no question. So afterwards, when mother became the very known, the divine mother, then someone said, it is okay that that person saw Kali in you and all these things. But what about those people? How could they become so selfish? Mother never enjoyed or liked to talk about this incident because of this. Because by this way, we can find out the fault of those people. She never wanted to tell that they were wrong. She told, no, what has happened, happened. At that moment, they didn't think that, that's all. So see this greatness, Dukkheshu anudvignamana. Sukheshu bigata spriha. The one lady came at a time of when she was suffering, no one went there. No one inquired about her. Even when she was suffering, her own relatives, they were enjoying. And the Thakur's relative, they were also enjoying. That lady is suffering. Look at it. But at the same time, Mother never said anything about them. Afterwards, when she was established and people were coming and worshipping her as the living goddess, so obviously so many things started coming. That time also, Bigata Spriha. She was not attached. You know that funny story, the incident that happened, Mother was sitting over there and people are bringing the gift for her, as usually the people they bring for the holy persons. So they were bringing the clothes and the fruits and the sweets and money. And one lady was sitting over there in that group and she was commenting, all these things are supposed to, I was supposed to get all these things. Because the first relation, they wanted to, the mother and the elder brother of Thakur, they wanted me to marry Sri Ramakrishna, but from my family it never happened. But suppose it was done, then all these things were supposed to come to me. She was not thinking about the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, or she was, because she was thinking, just because of Sri Ramakrishna's wife, she is getting. No. She was Sri Ramakrishna's wife immediately after his passing away also. That time she was not getting any attention from any quarter, anyone. Now after her tapasya, when the manifestation of the divinity came, then the people attracted and all they went to her. She forgot. And when she said that, without any embarrassment, immediately Mother said, "Oh, is it that all these things belongs to you? You take it." Can you imagine? Dukkheshu anadviknamana. When there is a misery, no problem. Sukheshu bigata spriha. When there is so much of joy, that time also she is free. So, mind is not agitated in the adversity and free from desire. That is who is devoid of any attachment. How this can come? Free of any attachment. Bigata spriha. Spriha is the desire. Bita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Bita means already free from fear and anger. Raga and bhaya and krodha. The bhaya is the fear. Why fear? I am going to lose. Why raga? The krodha is the anger. Why raga means attachment. The raga is attachment. Krodha in Sanskrit is anger, and bhaya is fear. Everything he goes away from his mind because he is not attached to this. And what happens? Sthitodi, and that is called the steady wisdom. So sages like the Bharadwaja only could understand Rama, and he said to Rama, "O Rama, you are nothing but the Satchidananda." Not all can understand. You have to develop those qualities, then only you can understand. Otherwise, it is not possible. And here we find that only Bharadwaja, the sages like Bharadwaja is telling, "O Rama, you are nothing but the Satchidananda. You have appeared before us as a human being, but you look like a man because you have shrouded yourself with your own Maya. You have covered yourself with your own Maya, and that is the reason we look at you and find you as if you are an ordinary human being." But the others don't see that. So Sri Ramakrishna, only a handful, few, they could understand. Remember the incident that happened on the 1st January 1886, we all observe as the Kalpataru, and all got the blessings. For whom? Because only one person, in an excellent way, he expressed that he has recognized Sri Ramakrishna. And when he said those words that was touching the heart of the Avatara, that human form broke down. Girish Chandra Ghosh is a very ordinary person, apparently, but his faith took him to that wisdom. His 100% faith took him to that wisdom, and he could see God in that human form. And that he said, and immediately Sri Ramakrishna became the wish-fulfilling God. And that here we find only Bharadwaja and only few others, they could recognize it. When all these things were going on, see how the scenery is changing. Immediately we read, presently some devotees from Kunnagar arrived. Kunnagar is a place, is a neighborhood, township. And they came singing kirtan to the apartment, to the accompaniment of drums and cymbals. They were playing the drum, they were singing kirtan, they came. And Sri Ramakrishna, he was very fond of kirtan. In the kirtan is a special type of songs, singing and dancing and expressing the joy of the presence of God. So that is called kirtana. Kirtana means expressing joy about the God, presence of God, devotion, etc. As they reached the northeast veranda of Sri Ramakrishna's room, the master joined in the music, dancing with them, intoxicated with divine joy. So you have seen in the last, in our Chicago calling program, when some people, they were singing and dancing, though they were not that way very much trained, but still that music and their presence and the dance. One of our Swami, he was from Argentina, he could not control himself, and he is a mystic type. He was also dancing, and you can see that in the movie, in the film, the Chicago Calling that we have published. So there he is dancing. So that emotion, and you can see our monks and the brahmacharis, that mood should come. Of course, the external dance won't do. From inside, that feeling of joy should come. And then they forget that outside world, how people will look at me, whether they are appreciating or not, it doesn't come in the mind. They will be singing and dancing. Sri Ramakrishna went into that mood. Here he is dancing with them, intoxicated. The word they have used, Master Mahashaya used, as if intoxicated. Those, after taking this type of intoxication, naturally they forget body consciousness. They forget all around what is happening, intoxicated with divine joy. Now and then he went into samadhi. We read about the samadhi in our yoga class. The samadhi is the highest state of mental concentration. And in that samadhi means mind is completely 100% concentrated on that particular object we are trying to concentrate. On which Sri Ramakrishna was concentrating? Brahman, absolute Brahman, all-pervading consciousness and all-pervading joy. His mind was going back to that, and he was forgetting the present surrounding, and he was going into samadhi only through that kirtan. Others are doing the kirtan. They are also singing the kirtan. They came by singing that, but this type of experience they are not enjoying. This is the proof of a separate personality. though he looks like an ordinary human being, but this behavior, the moment he wants, he can take back the mind to that highest realm about which all our scriptures are mentioning. So this samadhi, standing still as a statue, while he was in one of these states of divine unconsciousness, the devotees put thick garlands of jasmine around his neck. Instead of putting that garland and the wonderful fragrance, the jasmine, and they were putting that garland, the enchanting form of the master reminded the devotees of Chaitanya, another incarnation of God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years before Sri Ramakrishna. The master passed already through 3 moods of divine consciousness. Now they are describing, Master Mahashaya is describing that inmost means antardasa. They goes back, the whole mind goes back to the ultimate truth. It's called anta. Anta means inside, dasha, condition. It's a consciousness, the inmost, when he completely lost all knowledge of the outer world. This is one type. Each and every individual, they go to this state, but unknowingly. The moment we can go to this state knowingly, we are free. And that is why all this sadhana, all this prayer, all this, the spiritual thing that we are trying to do, this is innermost. It goes and lost about the completely the knowledge of the outer world. That's called antardasha, the innermost consciousness state. Then the semi-conscious, when he danced with the devotees in an ecstasy of love. So this dancing, the last Sunday, we went to see a dance performance. They were doing in such a nice way. Dances were nice. The music was also good. But if you know the story, then only you can enjoy. Otherwise, naturally not. What is the story? Story of Mirabai. So unless and until you know the story of Mirabai, and then secondly you have the temperament also like Mirabai, to understand God, to love God, to see God, that desire, then you can appreciate and enjoy, otherwise not. So when the incarnation of God is coming, when the Sri Ramakrishna came, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, many people saw them, but they didn't enjoy it. Why? They were not knowing anything about the God. So that is why Sri Ramakrishna sometimes, when some people are coming to him, looking at them, he said, after some time, not now. All people, they are coming, but some are just curious. What is happening over here? They came, they saw, they went away. Sri Ramakrishna observed it, and he said, after some time. The God's call is not reaching and touching their heart. It is closed. The windows of the heart are closed. So it is not entering, not touching. They cannot feel the call of God. So this semi-conscious state, when he is dancing, other people are thinking he is also dancing like others. No. It is actually his body function is going on, but mind is absolutely merged in that supreme. And then come the conscious state, which is normal, when he joined them in loud singing. The song means words, and it is coming out with rhythm, with tune. But it is actually the prayer. Unless and until we understand the meaning of those prayer, it is impossible. When they were singing the Mira's bhajan in that play, in Hindi, we were enjoying. because we could understand the Hindi. But this group, particularly the person, the choreographer, he is from Madras. Actually, he is not living in Madras, he is a Madrasi, Tamil, living in a foreign country, other country. So that Tamil language he used. Same music, same tune, but we can't understand the meaning. We don't know the Tamil language. So with that, emotion didn't come. When the people, that the song, inside the song that express where you are, I am searching you, I am becoming blind by crying, I can't see anything. At that type of the other people who can understand the meaning, the emotion comes, the divine emotion comes, tear rolls down, otherwise not. So this is the way the emotion is expressed. The Sri Ramakrishna, his mind goes antardasha, then called ardha, baiha dasha. Ardha means the half, semi-conscious state, and then conscious state. And at that time he is singing, it was indeed a sight for the gods, G small. The Master Masha is writing, even the gods will enjoy seeing this sight. So even indeed a sight for the gods to see the Master standing motionless in Samadhi with fragrant garland hanging from his neck, his consciousness, his countenance beaming with love, the devotees singing and dancing around him. Only the devotees can understand and they can enjoy this type of expressions. Those who are just reading for the reading's sake, what is there in this book, let me see, their heart won't go over here. But this is a picture that is drawn, word picture, that is drawn by Master Mahashaya, and one who can see, who can understand and close his eyes and can visualize that by the side of the Ganga, that wonderful place, Dakshineshwar, and the floor is red because of that colored, it's called cement, and there Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna in a motionless, the picture that is there, over there, almost like that. In my room, you have seen that cutout. Of course, that picture was taken in a different place, in the house of, I think, Keshav Chandra Sen. So almost like that, he is standing motionless, and people are singing and dancing all around him. So that is called the word picture drawn by Master Mahashaya for the devotees to meditate. And that is called Leela Dhyanam. When the Sri Ramakrishna, in his birthday, people have assembled, he is talking about God, then suddenly a group of people, they are coming, singing the name of God in Kirtan, and all their drums they are playing, and after Sri Ramakrishna joined, we close our eyes and go on visualizing the whole scene, and then finally it concludes when Sri Ramakrishna is standing motionless, merged in God, and all people are enjoying the company and the presence of God. When it was time for his noon meal, then slowly people, they stopped, he went, took food, again came back and sat. Now a different group of people, they have come, they are sitting over there, and previously his own people, his own devotees. Why I am telling like this? All devotees are God's devotee. But the ideology expressed in this figure as Sri Ramakrishna, that was accepted by a group of people. And that group of people is the core group of people. Now, at this moment, in this avatara, in this yuga, they are following this ideology which manifested in the personality of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. No narrowness, but only at different time, different situation, different type of expression God himself has given. Jai Ram, Jai Krishna. He who was Rama, he who was Krishna. The same God, same avatars, same power, same divine force has come. But as a Rama, he was giving a different expression. As a Krishna, in a different expression. As Sri Ramakrishna, is a different expression. Those who can understand these, they don't find any difference, but they come loving the expressions, philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna. Here, a group of people have come. They are Vaishnava, the followers of Vishnu. Mainly they worship Sri Krishna, also Sri Rama. This Vaishnava Goswami. Goswami means they're the leaders of this group, and they are called Brahmins and they are Goswamis. Was seated in the room. The master said to him, he was asking, when he is one of the leaders and the religious leaders, so Sri Ramakrishna asking the question to him. God is asking the question to a devotee. And what he is asking, well, what do you say? What is the way? Way to realize God. What is in your opinion? And immediately he said, because the Vaishnavas, they believe only Nama. So you will find now this modern Vaishnavas, they also constantly singing. And if you go to their asrama, you will find the main stress is on Kirtana. 8 times in a day, they do the Kirtana. They call Prahara. Prahara means, and I think a few hours, that's Prahar. And it goes maybe 4 hours, 1 Prahar, 1 Kirtana, then next, like that. 24 hours they are supposed to do, but at least 4 times they will be doing it. 5 times they will be doing. And those who are yogis, they spend most of their time on meditation. Like as we were discussing the Buddhist religion, Theravadis, they stress on meditation. Their main stress, sitting for 2 hours constantly. The practice, the first novices when they are coming, they will force them, ask them, inspire them to sit continuously on the same seat for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. That is the stress. And they think that by controlling the mind, they will realize the truth of God. So the one way. In Ramakrishna Mission, those who you are connected with us, you must know that ours is the combination. What? Jnana, Bhakti, Karma and Yoga. So sometimes there's a spiritual retreat that we organize. In the morning, we go and sit for meditation, yoga. Then after some time, we do some puja. Of course, all people cannot do puja. So one of us, they will be doing puja. There's a devotion. Then there will be discussions. There's a jnana. And in between, after the food, they will say Sheva, Asrama Sheva, that is karma. So all the 4 together, it gives a wonderful blend and helps the human being, human mind to develop. Not one-sided. The growth is total. As because in our nature, all the 4 are present, so Swami Vivekananda, he blended these jnana, karma, bhakti and yoga, and this has been depicted in the Ramakrishna Mission symbol. And here Sri Ramakrishna, when asked this gentleman, Goswami, then he said, Sir, the chanting of God's name is enough. The scriptures emphasize the sanctity of God's name for the Kali Yuga. It is his idea. In this Kali Yuga, this present, only the name of God, chanting the name of God is sufficient. If you go to the Buddhism, if you go to their religious places, they have written the mantra on big bells, and if you go and just rotate it, as many times it will rotate, that many times benefit you are getting. That's faith. So they try to force it in such a way, so it continues at least for 20 times, 50 times. They feel like that. And some people will be going on taking the name of God. They think that is sufficient. Taking the name of God is sufficient. Concentration along with that is not much necessary. Here he said, the chanting of God's name is enough. And Sri Ramakrishna immediately, yes, there is no doubt about the sanctity of God's name. But can a mere name, look at it, can a mere name achieve anything without the yearning love of the devotee behind it? If we don't have the yearning, I want to see you, I want to realize you, I want to reach to you, that yearning, that desire, very strong desire, if it is not there, mere name, can it help? That is the Sri Ramakrishna, the argument. And this is called devotion clubbed with discrimination, jnana. Without the discrimination, if we go on doing like a machine, we don't get the proper result. And that is called Naradiya Bhakti. Narada, that famous sage, full of devotion, but his bhakti, his devotion, always mixed with the discrimination, the knowledge. Otherwise, people, they become blind. Superstitions that comes in the mind in the name of religion, and that takes them, though they were devoted, though they were spending lot of time, but because of this lacking, they go to the different direction. And it takes long time for them to come back to the original. There is no doubt about the sanctity of God's name, but can a mere name achieve anything? Without the yearning love of the devotee behind it, one should feel great restlessness of soul for the vision of God. Now, that is the main thing. But the Goswami then arguing, and he said, but what about Ajamila then? Ajamila, there is a story in the Purana. He used to take the name of God and nothing else. He did lot of sin, committed lot of sin. But he knew that if you, at the right moment of your death, can take the name of God, you will be free. So when he was committing all these things, back of his mind, this consciousness was there, I have to call God at the time of my death. So he kept the name of his son as God's name. He knew that I cannot remember God that time, but I will surely remember my son, because son is supposed to help me at that moment. So all this calculation he did, and the story says to give the, this type of stories, that is there to give what's called the boost up our desire, our prayer, so we can try to understand God or take the name of God. So Ajamila's story, right at the time of his death, he called his son, whose name was in the name of Rama or Krishna, and he was free, Vishnu. So this Ajamila, then Sri Ramakrishna, what about Ajamila that Goswami is arguing? He was a great sinner, and there was no sin he had not indulged in. But he uttered the name of Narayana on his deathbed, calling his son. His name was Narayana, who also had the same name. And thus he was liberated. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna is telling, perhaps, he is not countering no. He said, perhaps Ajamila had done many spiritual things in his past births. Because all these things are accumulated, we see in this moment, then again in different places. Always, the Sri Ramakrishna, he gives the example, and he was telling an example of a drunkard. All these people, they were going in the taking the wine, drinking wine, but they were not getting the kicks, as they call it, or the intoxicated completely. One person came and he took only one little peg, and immediately he became full of intoxication. And then people are wondering, what is it? Only one peg and this is the result. Then others who knew that person, well, no, last whole night he was drinking. This is only in the morning, the last he has taken, now in this condition. Whole night he was drinking. This is the ordinary example Sri Ramakrishna gave, but actually, when a life full of devotion, past life, now still little desire was there. So for that desire, he took the birth, and then at the time of his death, past birth, all good karma came, and that was in his full mind, and then he called on God with devotion, apparently calling his son's name, but he was really calling Narayana, and with all sincerity and devotion because of his past birth. You will see the differences between two people, and suddenly the goodness manifested in one person, an exactly opposite thing in his own brother. Why? Because of the past birth. Here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, perhaps Ajamila had done many spiritual things in his past birth. And it is also said that he once practiced austerity. Besides, those were the last moment of his life. What is the use of giving an elephant a bath? It will cover itself with dirt and dust again, become its former self. But if someone removes the dust from his body and gives it a bath just before it enters into the stable, then the elephant remains clean. So like that, the mind will remain clean just before the death. Suppose a man becomes pure by chanting the holy name of God, but immediately afterwards commit many sins. So he is constantly going up and coming down, going up and coming down. In our younger days, the one very famous mathematical calculation was there, that there's a rod was there, bamboo, and that was one monkey wanted to go up, but it was slippery. It is going up this much many inches or feet and then coming down. So the calculation, when he will reach to the top, because he is going maybe 2 feet he is climbing, and then 1.5 feet he is coming down, again 2 feet he is going, and 1.5 feet is coming down, slip down. So when he will, so that is the calculation. Like that, when one person is doing good thing, is taking the name of God, but at the same time, immediately afterwards, he is committing some sin, what will happen? Therefore, I say, chant the name of God, and with it pray to him. So this is very, very important. First and foremost, one cannot chant the name of God, cannot remember the name of God, like the name of God, unless and until he is having blessings of God and his good karma from the past birth. And now in this life, after reaching that, when he is taking the name of God, immediately, consciously praying to God, please help me so that I can remain in this position. I say, chant the name of God, and with it pray to him that you may have love for him. Pray to God that your attachment to such transitory things as wealth, name, and creature comforts may become less and less every day. So that is the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Today we will read up to this, and in the next class again we will see how the conversation proceeds, make the progress with the Goswami and other people, raising the different doubts and forwarding some of their own opinion, and Sri Ramakrishna rectifying them. Not that he is totally denying, he is rectifying them and then making it complete so that they also can develop in the spiritual life. Offering the pranam to Sri Ramakrishna, we will conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpana Mastu.